In the last video, I was saying that the human was thought to be turning into a crystalline structure based human instead of the carbon based, but what I should have said was a silicon based human. However, I did look up crystallization, and in a way it kind of fits, because to crystallize something is to take a compound and work out of it all the impurities in order to get to the crystal form of it, which becomes clear of all the impurities when you do that process. So in a way, that's sort of what is happening to us. We're getting rid of our impurities through a purification process, which must be part of the transformation that we will undergo. So maybe it wasn't such a wrong word to use after all. So now, let me return now to reading. Let us return again to the high magnification and rapid photography which is being developed. We find that the minutest seed, when its germ cell is photographed under high magnification, has the exact form of that which it will produce and bring forth unerringly, and it is giving off a wavelength or a vibratory frequency which accompanies it throughout its circle of productivity. And through its frequency of vibration, it attracts to itself the energy that is necessary for its development into maturity. And this frequency of vibration, which is the divine life essence, which accumulates or draws to itself the substance, not only gives life to the tree, the flower, and all vegetable life, as well as all mineral and metallic substance, but it is the very life of that substance. I want to add a little something here. I was listening to a video in which they were talking about having passed a laser light through the larva eggs of a salamander, beamed it into the eggs of a frog, and when they hatched, they weren't salamanders. They weren't frogs. The frog eggs, when they hatched, were salamanders. So that essence is in that frequency of vibration that was sort of transferred by doing that to it. And there was one other. Then again, in another video, I was listening to a woman who had high magnification of the germ seed of salamander, and she had seen the image of the salamander in the seed. So there is collaboration that these words are being bared out, in fact, by scientific community people who have delved this deep into this. Now to continue on. Now, we are free to say that all substance has life expressing through it, and there is no change from that divine plan of perfection until man, through his thoughts, either enhances or debauches the perfection. It is also found that man is able to influence these emanations of perfection to a larger and greater productivity, of presenting greater and greater thoughts of productivity and more abundant perfection. Let us return again to the amoeba, or first cell. While this cell is entirely different from that of the vegetable or mineral, its rate of vibration is much greater, and it is not to be compared with that of the mineral or the animal. It is found that its rate of vibration is the force that draws its energy or substance to itself, which causes its growth into new cells, which finally builds a human form, and the passing on to every cell created the first perfect and undeviating form of divinity. It now can definitely be seen that when humanity cooperates and in no way, through thought or expression, interferes with the ideal of divinity, the human form is ideally perfect. Thus we can say that it is God-body, pure and perfect. Let us see that divine energy and intelligent principle emanating from the single cell or amoeba, which its own principle of great vibratory frequency began drawing energy to itself, and then began dividing and multiplying until it came into a great focal point or form, wherein it could emanate and direct all forms, as well as put forth forms as of the image of itself. Humanity has never deviated from that perfect pattern or image. Photography shows those perfect forms, not only surrounding every form, but also other perfect forms coming forth. Where the scientists lack evidence, we have forged ahead to the complete knowing that we are that great emanating frequency. Now, this next part that I'll be reading to you, I want you to try to do this if you want to conduct a little experiment that I am doing with myself by looking at the light and seeing these little things in the light. But before you can see it, you have to be able to do this that I'm going to read. Sit quietly for a few moments with the statements, God, I am, as all are. God, I am divine intelligence. And know and then admit to yourself, with all doubt removed, I am divine principle. I am divine love, and it flows through me to all the world. Then see yourself as God, and everyone you meet or see as God, and you will see that which is being accomplished in the sub-microscopic zone of life. For you will see an almost invisible drop of protoplasm that is transparent, jelly-like, capable of motion, drawing energy from the sun. It is already capable of using the light of the sun to break up the carbon dioxide in the air, forcing the atoms apart, seizing the hydrogen from the water, and producing carbohydrates, thus making its own food out of one of the world's most stubborn chemical compounds. Now, I want to interrupt here and say that what it is that I see is in the light of the sun, and also in the light of any artificial light. Anywhere there's light, I can squint my eyes in such a way that I see these little light-like filaments. And I've drawn some pictures I will put on later of what they look like. And they seem to be floating, and they seem to be something I'm passing through, and they seem to be in layers, and they seem to be different kinds of them in different layers, and yet none of them interfere with the movements of one in a layer right behind the layer you're looking at. It's going to be hard to talk about it. I'll have to show you the pictures. But I'm seeing this in the light, and also in the evening when I look at the sun with my eyes squinted real tight, I can see like through a microscope. The sun just kind of does this thing where it looks like, where it bubbles out sort of like from a satellite dish. It just kind of beams itself out there as a bubble. But it's a bubble that doesn't stay exactly still. And it has all these little things that I see in the light actually magnified even better so that I see them more up close and detailed. And they're still moving about, and there's tremendous activity in this, and there's layer upon layer of these that it looks like in the background is an incrustation of them. And my next video will show you what they look like to me, and I will explain it a little better. But I do want to say that I'm not the only one who's ever seen this. This was unusual to me that I found out that this guy, Ed something other, I can't pronounce his last name, but he is the one that built the Coral Castle in Florida. And this man, though he only weighed about 110 pounds, knew how to move huge stones. And he built this huge coral castle with tons and tons of blocks of wood, not wood, but coral reef. And I will tell you more about him in the next video and about what I'm seeing, and I'll show you pictures.